very special guest on the show. Mike Glenn is on the call right now. We're gonna talk some NBA, Atlanta Hawks stuff. Say hello, Mike.
Hello, guys. I'm so happy to be with you. Thanks for including me in your podcast.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, Mike. Really appreciate it. And I'll start off with some questions. So let's just jump into it.
All right.
Okay.
As of right now, the Hawks are projected to have the 5th pick, which is their own, and then the 6th overall pick from Dallas. Who do you see them taking, given our needs at small forward and center?
You know, that is a very good question. It's really hard to predict at this point. We have some very dedicated scouts that spend hours and hours and weeks and months scouting and looking at films and looking for opportunities to make trades and looking internationally even. Mm-hmm. So it is really difficult. Of course, there are some popular names that we've seen examples of from Duke, North Carolina, Tennessee, and other top colleges in the U.S., but it is just hard to see what packages can come forward, who may be traded, what picks. There's so much that can go on between here and now that I really can't accurately predict who the Hawks might pick. But everybody covered Zion Williams. I mean, that's no secret. Everybody loves him and JR. I mean, those are no secrets, so I'm sure they are certainly on the list.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so you played significant minutes for 4 different NBA teams in your playing days. How much does the culture of the locker room vary, and what locker room characteristics create a winning environment for a team?
Very good question. Thanks very much. Yes, the culture has changed very much. I find it much more open to differences of opinion of how things are, less strict. For example, in New York, Red Holzman, the legendary coach of the Knicks, who coached 2 world championship teams, did not want any food. Of course, there was no internet and no corresponding on things outside of the game at hand. And I grew up even on a high school team where when you were traveling on the bus, there was no talking before the game. It was considered a very sacred, quiet time. Now you see guys texting and emailing and eating food in locker rooms. You hear music playing, which they could not do at that time either. But it kind of just changes in culture, man. So many people are more connected to communicating with others outside of their immediate environment, and you just see the way people conduct themselves differently, much differently. The culture is totally different. You have people from all across the continents that are playing on various teams. It's like an international house of basketball players, international game, and it's celebrated by all. I think those are progressive things as we share diversity and cultures and points of emphasis and ways of doing things, from people that assist us to things that we do. Even the training is so much different now, guys. You see a thing called minute restrictions. We never had such thing as that. How you feel? You okay? You want to play or what? You know, you go in and you play till you let the coach know you're hurt and that you need to come out. Now, a certain amount of minutes that you have to play. I find that certain things are, a little different, and I would change a few of them. But I think overall it's very positive. That was a very good question.
I mean, you played in a very different NBA before the three-point line and after the three-point line was implemented. And when it was implemented, teams basically ignored it. And how long did it take for teams to start using that in their game plans, the three-point line, as a strategy?
The first time I really saw it as a strategy was when I joined the Milwaukee Bucks. My last year at the Hawks, the 80-45 season, we would use it sometimes in desperation. Late in the game, you're down by double digits. Try to shoot some long threes. It was like a Hail Mary or something. But even when we would make 2 or 3 of them, and then the first one we missed, Coach Mike would tell us, that's it, don't shoot any more of those. So even great shooters like Larry Bird and others, they didn't have just green light to just continue to jack up threes. I don't care how good you shot them. It was not a part of the game plan. The game plan was get as close to the basket, as high percentage shots as you could consistently, and not to worry about those long threes. And then in Milwaukee, was the 85-86 season was when I first started seeing it used differently. We had one of the NBA's greatest three-point shooters, Craig Hodges, but we had other guys could shoot it pretty well too. We didn't shoot near as many. It doesn't even get on the chart to what they shoot now. But Coach Don Nelson would draw a play up for Craig Hodges to shoot a three-point shot. We couldn't believe that. That was part of the plan. And coming down when it was about 35 seconds left in a quarter, we wanted to get 2 shots out of the remaining time on the clock. So a shot needed to go up between 35 seconds and 30 seconds remaining in the quarter. And often Paul Pressey would approach the three-point line like he was going to run a play and just shoot a shot. And the defense had no hands up. Nobody was expecting somebody to just come down and shoot a three-point shot without moving the ball, screening underneath, and all of those things. So he was often wide open when he took that shot. And then we, of course, would get a second shot before the quarter ended. That was the first time I really saw the three-point shot as an integral part of the planning. And we played the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Finals that year, and we found they shot a few more than we anticipated. So quite possibly they had really made that a part of their plan. They had Bird, who shot them well, and others who shot it. Danny Ainge shot it pretty well too. So I think it was part of their plan. I never was sure, but the result was they scored a few of them, that's for sure.
Do you think the three-point line makes it harder to defend other players? Like, how much harder is it to have a different option you have to defend? Because there's so much more you have to defend this modern NBA. You have to close out. You can't just leave someone open with. You have to contest every single shot.
Very good question, and that is a good point. And I think you can see that in the Atlanta Hawks game. The fact that Trae Young is now expanding his range, that means that defense has to get out and pick him up deeper, because he'll let it go from 35 feet and make it. Now you've got to extend that defense. He can go around you. If he sets the screen out there, he's so much quicker than the forwards and centers. They're fish way out of water. And so that becomes an advantage for him to keep his dribble alive, to go around them, to make passes. You have more court to cover too. So with a couple of passes, you can get a shot from the opposite corner before the defense has a chance to cover all of that territory. So the three-point shot really makes it more difficult.
So how do you think you'd fit in today's NBA, as you were a great shooter, hence the name Stinger, but you never really but as we were saying, the three wasn't utilized as much as it is now?
Yeah, I'd have to make some adjustments for sure. You know, I was such a high percentage mid-range shooter. That's what I worked on, I trained on, I lived for, I practiced over and over and over again. Clearly my expertise, a thing that I worked on and a thing that I shot. It really just bothered me when I was missing shots. I couldn't sleep, and so I never wanted to go out and shoot some long shots and miss them. That just made me feel horrible. You came out of the game quickly if you came off the bench. Ricky Pierce, who was a great sixth man for the Bucks, was also one of my teammates. He said he didn't like him that much either. He learned to shoot him a little bit more. He played after I did as well, but he said, I don't have time to come in there missing shots. Coach, go take me out of the game. I want to come in, get into the game. You're in a few minutes. You got to make it count right now. So they wanted a shot that had a high percentage of going in. But the mentality has changed now. It's okay to miss those shots. Coaches encourage, take more threes. And I think I would have adjusted. I would have taken my range out. I would have worked on it. I would have developed a skill. Of course, your percentage would not be as high as it was, but I would have made the adjustment, and I think I would have been able to do both from long range and mid-range.
And you use free throw percentage as an indicator of how well someone shoots, and you shot above 80% every single year in your career, so I feel like you would have adapted pretty well to the modern NBA game. But as an analyst, how would you analyze the efficiency and using of analytics to have a more efficient game plan, have a higher points per possession?
Analytics can be used very constructively. And I think a lot of times people that have an understanding of both, I consider myself that one. Of course, I was a mathematics major. The lowest grade I ever made in statistics in college was an A. I worked on Wall Street, and analytics and technique, all of that is a part of what I consider, but also the spirit of the game, knowing how the game is played, how missing impacts your feelings and passes, and guys have certain biases and strengths and tendencies and passions that are also a part. So I think if you separate either one, then you miss the boat. I think if you just look, Golden State took 43s, you only took 25, therefore you should take more. Not necessarily. You may not have that kind of talent, to push the ball, to pass the ball, to make the shots. You may have guys oriented to do something else much better, and they should do that. Antetokounmpo, he really should play mid-range and in. You look at LaMarcus Aldridge with San Antonio Spurs, and he's an excellent mid-range player. He can average 20 a game and never even take but a few threes. Let him do that which he does well. So I think that is the thing now. We're trying to sometimes make people that have a round game fit into a square peg, and that's when your team isn't as well. You just start relying on one thing. You get into slumps. You create big deficits. Now you're down 20, and then you're looking for some heroic shots to bail you out, and they're just constantly pegging away at you, and it can have a very disappointing game. One other thing I would add to that, guys, I think you have to be careful for the big view. Fans love the athletic performance of guys that can drive to the basket and dunk and do beautiful moves, and if your whole game is just pass it up, shoot a three-pointer, stop at the three-point line, everybody just stop and shoot a set shot. You can see that at the YMCA. Fans still want to see great athletic performance, drives to the basket, block shots, beautiful moves, spontaneous decisions. That is a part of the history of basketball and should be protected. I would not be against them really making the three-point shot a little further out and discouraging. I think it's getting to be too much a part of our sport now, where you've got teams shooting 40 to 50 three-point shots a game, and more than half of your shots are three-point shots, and who knows what the top will be. Some coaches have the philosophy, shoot as many as possible. I don't think that's so good for the game, personally.
Yeah, basketball is a business. You want to sell tickets.
Yes, you do. You want to sell tickets. It's a beautiful game. I think it's the most beautiful game, and we should make sure that the athleticism is still included. I think even the and ones, they made another change in the rules that when you're fouled, to make sure some guys not just get fouled and throw the shot up and get a continuation to get either 2 or 3 free throws, and the bucket will count. So they're more prone to take those buckets away. I kind of like the and ones. I think they have to kind of be careful how that's legislated, because the continuation, the guy that gets the bump and goes on and finishes the play needs to be rewarded. I think the athletic excellence and beauty has to be protected of the game. The aesthetics of the game is very important for the fans, the players, and for everyone.
So moving on to the Atlanta Hawks, my favorite team, and the team that you analyze. Let's talk about Taurean Prince and his role. So, as the Hawks have grown and progressed, Taurean Prince's role has minimized. While he's done a solid job producing for the Hawks, his role is getting smaller and smaller, especially with the emergence of Kevin Huerter at the similar position. Do you see Prince being traded in the offseason, or should we keep him as a six-man role to help with our rebuild?
That's a good question that will definitely have to be decided, and I've heard those rumors. He's heard those rumors, I understand. And that's the reality of the NBA. I'm not you may make note of this, I'm not such a big fan of all of the trading of guys, and I look forward, I would love to see a day when only trades are made with the player's permission. I think that's something that maybe 10, 15 years from now, maybe sooner, we may see professional sports go more to that. Maybe in season particularly, just to uproot a family, individual, and say, you're out of here, you're in Cleveland tomorrow, or Utah, or wherever. are sent. It's pretty harsh reality for anybody, regardless of the amount of money that they're making. But to answer your specific question about Taurean Prince, his role has changed, and it is a lesser role. I think Herter getting more playing time is one factor. I think the fact that Trey and John Collins are such a focal point of the offense now. Trey's handling it, and a lot is guided with, through, and to John Collins, but that's all your best players. That's how it should be. That's the nature of competition in the sport. So, but Taurean Prince is a very good player. I like him. I think you have to share the ball with him, let him run pick and roll, shoot, score, drive, defend. I think his energy, his competitiveness, his attitude is even very positive. He had that in college. He almost has a chip and a confidence / cockiness that lets you compete at a higher level, and you can put him on LeBron. You can put him. He's okay. Let's go. I love his confidence. I think he's a very good and positive attitude and style of play and player. So I would like to see him stay in Atlanta. I think he's very good for the team.
What's this Hawks team ceiling in the next couple of seasons?
Boy, that is another one. I see it as very, very high. The development has been so astronomical. I think Coach Pierce has done such a good job. And across the board, you almost can look at every player on that Hawks team and see how that player has improved his ability to perform. You've seen their mentality perform. They share the ball. They seem to care for each other. They compete hard. They're down 25 against the Celtics and come and tie the game in the second half in Boston. That is a very difficult task that they have managed to do because of their mentality and their effort and their beliefs. So the system is very good. Now, they'll get better. They'll improve their talents and skills because they work hard and effectively. They'll get better. Something else, they will attract other talent. They will see, man, those guys in Atlanta, nice place to play, good players, good coach. They're playing hard. They have potential. Great city, best city in the country. Guys will say, I'd like to go down there to Atlanta. So I think you'll attract a few high-level players. I think the drafts that they have, as you mentioned this year, are good. You combine growing talent, attracting new talent, and good draft picks. It's a very possible chance that they can go very deep in pursuit of an NBA championship in the next 5 years. I see that as a very real possibility.
And personally, I don't think they should use their cap space this offseason because they do have the most cap in the NBA. But I feel like they need to be patient and wait a year because I don't know if they're going to get any of the top free agents. And if you're wasting your cap on someone who's not the best of the best, I think it's not the most effective use of the cap. I think they should be patient. What do you think the Hawks should do with their cap space this offseason?
Yeah, I would agree that you have to be wise with it and don't squander it. Now that's where really good assessment and flexibility has to be there. You got that space and you've earned it. Don't throw it away. Don't squander it. But when the right opportunity comes, go for it. But don't just squander it to put on somebody. It's not really. And if you make a mistake, you have to realize it and look to adjust or go in a different direction. So that's an art too, art and a science. You never really know, even with draft picks, man. You can have the number one pick. You don't really know how that person will do in the NBA. Sometimes we used to say it takes up to 3 years, and that was after a guy had played 4 years. Just because you have a number one guy in that first year, you think, oh man, this guy can't play. I could make a long list of teams that have had high draft picks and thought after 1 year, what a disappointment. They said it after Alex English. They said it after Sidney Moncrief.
Yeah.
It's just so many players. Michael Ray Richardson, I played with and seen say, oh, it's just a mistake. And the next year, the guy's one of the league leaders. Also, Tracy McGrady thought was the biggest mistake of them all. Then he leaves the league and scores for several years. Like, shut up. You don't know what you're saying. So I think it takes time, patience, practice, development, opportunity, and kind of manage the decisions and be flexible as things change.
Yeah, I would agree with that. A lot of these guys coming into the draft at these high picks are freshmen, and eventually, and potentially some of these guys will come out of high school. These guys are 18 to 19 years old, and we're giving them comparisons like Zion Williamson and LeBron James, or Andrew Wiggins and Kobe Bryant. I think that you're putting an immense amount of pressure on them, and if they crack under the pressure just in their first year, I think, like you said, they definitely deserve a second chance. One guy that comes to mind recently is Victor Oladipo. He was drafted with the second pick, and he had a very mediocre role in Orlando, gets traded to the Thunder, and then gets traded to the Pacers, and now he's easily a top 5 shooting guard in the NBA.
Excellent, man. You guys are good analysts, and it's a pleasure talking to people that know the game. We enjoy that too. We enjoy that, people that know of what they speak. Yeah, and I couldn't agree with you more. Oladipo is a perfect example of that, man. You just never know, because the situation can be even different, as you acknowledge there. Not only your talent level, but you're in a situation where maybe you're playing with Westbrook and other guys. You're not going to get many shots and many chances to develop. And sometimes it can even be where Westbrook is a great player. And you even look at James Harden, who was on that team and didn't get to develop to his fullest, being sixth man on that team. But he's in a different situation. He gets the ball, more shots, more opportunity. He develops, and you find out, whoa, this guy, league MVP, coming off the bench. So, there's a lot of variables in that, opportunity, development, and youth, like you're saying. You're not even, these 19-year-old kids are going to grow more. They're going to get stronger, bigger, taller, not to mention much wiser, just having been in the NBA.
Well, it was great having you on, Mike, and Hawks play tonight against the Orlando Magic, and it's going to be interesting to see you going to be broadcasting that game, doing the pregame, postgame, halftime. Great having you on. Have a good one. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. I enjoyed you, Ishan and Will. You're doing a great job. All the best to you. I look for great things from both of you guys.
Thank you very much, and it was a pleasure having you on the show.
Okay. Goodbye.
All right.
See ya.